Prepare for a compelling clairvoyant journey as storyteller Nicola and psychic Darcy delve into the chilling history of this famous astrologically nicknamed serial killer. You'll be astounded to learn how Darcy knew the third victim was female.
It should be a female, not a male.
Okay.
This is how he can distinguish between male and female. No whiskers.
Someone who's dead. You can get a feeling of their face having whiskers or not having whiskers.
Yeah.
And amazed as to how Darcy knew why the Zodiac changed his MO to ambush his fifth and sixth victims.
By now he should be escalating. Okay. So I'm thinking surprise attack. This time not in a car.
Okay.
Outside. Should be stabbing, not shooting. Because it's daylight, so we want to accomplish our goal, but we're not really wanting to bring the police down on us because they can hear what we're doing.
Okay.
And you will be both shocked and saddened by the final poignant thought of his last victim.
He catches a ride around 9:30 in the evening with a San Francisco cabbie named Paul Stine. Have a look at Paul, and I will show him our photo number 13, Darcy.
Okay.
Can Paul tell you anything about his fate?
It's really weird because when you ask that question, I hope I die fast.
Paul Stine said that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Radio Sydney presents Episode 47, The Zodiac Killer Unmasked. Welcome to Seeing Dead People, the slow burn storytelling podcast where our host, Nicola, challenges her psychic friend Darcy to communicate with the dead and unravel historical ghost stories, unsolved true crime mysteries, and all things paranormal. If you want to be spooked, amazed, and entertained, stick around for an astonishing, deep dive convo with the spirits on the other side.
Hello, Darcy. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing great. How are you, Nicola?
I'm doing great. Okay, well, we've got quite a show ahead of us today, Darcy. So I'm really keen, as always, to talk to you about it, and really keen to know if you're feeling anything today about our subject matter.
At this point, as usual, I'm going to say murder and mayhem. Okay. Strangely enough, this time though, I'm not feeling that British accent.
Oh.
Okay. So either we're looking at another country, we're looking close to home, but I'm not feeling the British accent.
Okay, that's cool. Now, so when you say feeling the accent, you hear an accent, don't you? What do you mean by feeling the accent?
Okay, maybe it's more like hearing the accent.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
Well, just before we started, you were feeling a bit queasy and needed to have some nourishment. It doesn't really surprise me because in the past, when we've had this sort of show, you've had some nausea. So you clued in very quickly on we're not geographically over the pond. We're actually closer to home. We're in fact directly south, heading to the west coast state of California. Specifically, Darcy, we're going to be roaming around the north of the state on the Pacific coast side, around San Francisco Bay and the Napa Valley area. You can get a glimpse if you have a look at photo number 1. And I'm just going to see, now that we have this new way of filming, I'm going to see if I can get my photos to come up.
You have frozen yourself?
Don't worry about it. I know what they look like. And I'll just expect you to describe them perhaps a little bit more if we need to. So Darcy, we are, as I say, heading down to San Francisco Bay in the Napa Valley. So let's have a look at our first photo, which is just a Google map as usual of the area. Sometimes you have an inclination from maps, and sometimes you experience nausea for certain cases. So just have a look at that and tell me if you're getting any sense of anything.
Well, San Francisco, Modesto, those are all areas where they've had a lot of killings from various types of people. Obviously male. I'm just looking at the map photo right now. So I'm going to say this is a man who's the murderer, but also feels like multiple. Like not one murder, but maybe 2 or 3 or 4.
Okay, great. All right. Well, you often experience nausea, because we're going to go down a sort of a violent criminal case today. And I feel a little badly sending you down this dark alley. But on the other hand, I can't wait to send you down the dark alley to see what you discover. So as sympathetic as I am to your possible discomfort, I'm more keen on discussing with you this riveting case to hear what you experience. So are you game, instead of California dreaming, are you game to do some California nightmaring today?
Sure, but wasn't Son of Sam from California too?
Sorry?
Son of Sam, was he California?
Yes, he was. Absolutely.
Okay. So this
Okay.
is going to be something like that, where there's multiple murders.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yes.
but I know it's not Son of Sam you're talking about here.
Okay. Why do you know it's not Son of Sam?
Because when I say it, I feel cold.
Really?
Maybe it actually helped to eat before.
Give you a little energy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, right. It's not the Son of Sam, although I have considered having Son of Sam at some point in time, so we might still do that. Okay. So first, Darcy, this story is so complex. It involves so many incidents that our discussion would take considerably more than our usual rough hour time frame. So I'm trying to strip down to the main events and have a really razor sharp focus on the big ticket items. Okay.
Okay.
So let's meet the first two people whose lives are forever changed in our unfolding drama when these two young teens did something that was common to thousands of their peers. So Darcy, have a look at photo number 2 and meet 17-year-old high school student David Faraday.
Okay.
Now, David took a gal out on a simple Friday night date, as millions of teens have done in the history, on December 20th, just 4 days before Christmas of 1968. So does David Faraday tell you anything?
Well, he's very young, clean, the dark hair over the side, suit, tie by the looks of it. He looks like he is a very happy, easygoing young man.
Oh, okay.
Someone who would have enjoyed life. I'm taking it he's dead, not just because it's so far back. I think he died here.
Right.
And I would think that he's more interesting in, can I get to second base, than he is about anything else here.
Okay, well, that wouldn't be surprising for a 17-year-old male, I would think. Okay, well, David borrowed his mom's car and picked up his date, 16-year-old high school student Betty Lou Jensen. So have a look at Betty Lou in photo number 3, please. What does she tell you, Darcy?
She's a little mischievous. She's got dark hair again, given the photo. Probably where it comes down, not square face, but sort of a little oval rectangular.
Okay.
Yeah. Big eyes, bangs. She looks like my cousin.
Oh, okay.
And again, sort of get the impression one of them worked, at least one of them worked. I'm not sure which one of them. Out to enjoy the evening, have a little talk, get into a little trouble like our parents tell us not to at that age.
Right.
But no idea that I'm taking it again because you're bringing them forward. They got killed this night.
Okay, so you're right there. Unfortunately, this pair of innocents had the great misfortune to park at a quiet, out-of-the-way lover's lane, as one would do, on Lake Herman Road near the city of Vallejo in California. What do you think happened? You're saying that they've been killed, Darcy. Tell us what you're thinking about what happened to these young people.
Well, I feel like someone either shot them, cut them. Like, I'm seeing blood.
You're seeing blood. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you've no doubt heard of the classic and terrifying urban myth where two teens are killed by a deranged stranger while making out on a dark lover's lane, right? You've heard that old tale.
Yeah, the hook.
Exactly, the hook. Well, there's no hook tonight, but tragically, David and Betty Lou were viciously attacked by a crazed maniac, and they experienced this horrendous urban myth. These two attacks mark the beginning of a multi-year cat and mouse hunt, Darcy, where California authorities desperately track an extraordinarily bizarre and sadistic serial killer.
Okay, bear with me a sec. Uh, okay, I'm hearing Red River Valley. So is the river connected somehow?
Well, it's a state park, which I presume it's a lake state park, so there is water nearby. As to whether it's a river, I'm not sure, but there's definitely a lake.
Okay. Well, let's keep the word river in mind here.
Okay. Any idea how they might have met their fate?
Well, I would think right where they are, maybe they were trying to help someone. No, not really. I feel like the person knocked for help. So they were young, gullible, willing to help a stranger.
Okay, well, what happened, that what we understand happened is that they were attacked around 11:05 to 11:10 p.m. We know that incredibly tight time frame, Darcy, because they were spotted alive by a passing motorist at around 10:15. And then again, they were spotted at 11, okay? Just before the attack. The police have a theory that the killer pulled up in his car beside them on the passenger side, about 10 feet away. He left his car and approached the couple. So as you say, perhaps being gullible young individuals, they wouldn't be thinking anything untoward. This individual immediately started firing shots into the vehicle.
Okay.
So, do you have a sense of what happened next?
Well, I still feel as though they may have been cut. And I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say they were cut up. Okay. But I still feel like I'm supposed to say they were cut.
Okay, that's interesting. This
pulled out of the vehicle and cut?
No, they were shot. Betty Lou was shot first. They tried to get out. She was gunned down from behind. David was shot in the head as he tried to flee. And it only took about 3 minutes for this whole horrendous event to occur. Then the killer disappeared. Sadly, Betty Lou was found dead fairly short after somebody came upon them. Remarkably, young Faraday was breathing. Do you think he could tell us anything about the assailant, Darcy?
I'm sort of feeling there should be a no to that answer. I mean, I feel male. That's about it.
Okay. Well, you're right. Go ahead.
Was there some sort of symbol or something left at this killing?
Not at this killing. I'll give you that hint, Darcy, but
okay.
you've hit a very important part of this whole storyline. Okay. Okay. Despite an intensive, detailed, and lengthy investigation, the police found no evidence, no tire prints, no footprints, no witnesses, no motive for the killing of these young teens. Just an insane act by the proverbial madman. Of course, this created a sensation, and the events were widely covered by the media. Any idea what happened next? Our next incident, as it continued?
I would think someone else got killed.
Okay. Any better sense of who might that be?
It should be a female, not a male.
Okay.
And it's mainly because I can't feel. This is how I can distinguish between male and female. No whiskers.
You have a feeling of someone's face in your hands?
Yeah. No whiskers.
Someone who's dead. You can get a feeling of their face having whiskers or not having whiskers.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. We've never known that before. That's astounding. Oh, cool. Okay.
And she should be young, right? She should still be in, I would say 13 to 25 at the utmost. I don't think she's old.
Okay.
And I'm beginning to think that this man picks his victims. He's actually physically seen them and he follows them.
Okay, well, that's a very interesting point. I hope we'll expand that later, because the theories are, how were these individuals targeted is a very intriguing question in this whole incident. So we're moving forward nearly 7 months to another holiday date, July the 4th of the next year, 1969. Another young couple went on a date. Unfortunately, I only have a photo of the female, whose name was Darlene Ferrin. She was only 22. She was driving with her date, a young man named Michael Majot, who was just 19. We can see Darlene in photo number 4. Can you get us, it's not a great photograph, but can you get a sense from this young gal?
She seems very, even to look at her, she seems younger than her 21 years. You know, neck, shoulder, like right at the neckline, hair, simple face. Can I ask, does she waitress?
I believe exactly. I think that's what one of her, I believe that was her job. Exactly. Now, how do you know that?
Well, simply because I see an apron in my head.
Oh, okay.
And also, again, the other girl and this one have similarities between one of my cousins who used to be a waitress. So I'm sort of relying on the information I'm getting that maybe there's a connection.
Oh, neat. Okay. Well, shortly after midnight, they went for a ride in Darlene's car. Darlene's the driver. There's some information, Darcy, that they might have been followed, but that's never been proven. We do know that Darlene knew the first victims, and she lived close to Betty Lou Jensen's home. She drove to a popular hangout in a park called Blue Rock Springs, which happens to be only 2 miles away from where our other individuals were killed at Lake Herman Road. So what happens to this young couple, Darcy?
Well, I'm sort of thinking the same type of event,
Okay.
pull up, shoot. Again, one of them it's just it's such a large gap in between, almost a year.
Mm-hmm.
So is there any chance, because she does look a little like the other girl, that there may have been a mistake in the first place of who I wanted to kill?
I can't tell you that right now, but it's a good question. Okay.
But I would say the same occurrence then.
Okay. Well, this is where there's the understanding of actually what happened that night is a bit confusing and uncertain. Supposedly, another car approached, parked a bit of a distance away, and sat there in the dark with their lights off while this couple is over a little further away. The young man, Michael, was a bit leery about this person being nearby. Darlene was unconcerned. There seems to have been some controversy about whether Darlene Ferrin actually knew her killer. Do you think she did?
No, my answer is no. I'm thinking if this is Lover's Lane again,
Yep.
you would expect other cars to be there.
Correct. Absolutely. Okay. Well, the other car drove off and then, oddly enough, came back 5 minutes later, parking much nearer now to Darlene's car, again on the passenger side. Do you have an idea of what happened next?
Well, passenger side from the last time, shoot the people.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very effective way of killing people, is to pull up and just shoot them through a window.
It is indeed.
Which would be a little hard, because one would think the bullet going through glass doesn't always mean it's going to hit its target.
Do you think it's possible that might not have happened in that manner?
No, I'm not feeling it happen quite like that.
Okay.
But I want to say I sort of feel the young man might have got out of the car to see who it was.
Okay. Well, supposed circumstances were that this stranger got out of his car, shone a flashlight into the passenger side, so therefore into Michael's face and Darlene's face. I think Michael thought he was a policeman.
Please, yeah.
Rolled down the window, as one might, right? I mean, it's dark and you're just seeing a light coming at you in the dark. You're blinded completely. The man holding the light remained mute, but he fired a gun right into the car. One bullet hit Darlene in the neck and another struck Michael's arm. Then the killer returns to his car. Then happens to notice Michael desperately trying to get out of Darlene's automobile and escape. The killer then races back and shoots each one of them twice. So they've already been shot once each. Now they've been shot twice each.
Yeah.
Then he goes back to his car and drives away. A nearby golf course caretaker heard the commotion, the gunshots, and later estimated it happened about 12:10. Once again, there were no clues from the shooter, nothing left behind. The injured couple was discovered a little while later, taken to hospital. What do you think happened to Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau at that time?
Well, I would have thought if Darlene got shot in the neck, could have hit a carotid artery or something. So I would think she's dead.
Okay.
Michael, I am of second minds on him, but I'm going to say he probably died as well due to gunshot injuries.
Okay. Do you think either one of them was able to provide a description?
I'd love to say no, but there's a part of me that says yes.
Now, why would you love to?
Because given she was shot in the neck, pretty hard to talk.
Okay.
And with him, depending on where he got shot, but I keep hearing no description. And maybe there's my problem. No description. That's what I keep hearing.
Okay, well, your spirit guides are not being good to you today in that regard, because Michael was to give a description. She, of course, wasn't. Unfortunately, Darlene died. Michael was able to give a description, and he describes a white male, large face, heavy set, 5'8" tall, weighing about 195 to 200 pounds, short, curly, light brown hair, and a pot belly, wearing dark clothes and no eyeglasses. So that's what Michael indicated. But something else happened a few minutes after the attack. Any idea, Darcy? This is where the story just gets stranger and stranger.
First of all, I'm going to query his description because it doesn't sound right. Okay. I would have said the dark clothes. He should have said he seemed like a police officer, because that's when you said the flashlight, that's the first thing I thought. But I feel like someone else may have seen something. Like there's another person. Can I ask, this time, did they find footsteps?
They find nothing.
No footsteps.
No footsteps.
Not even with Michael trying to get out of the car.
Oh, I don't know. Possibly that, but they have no clues from the killer himself.
And no bullet casings.
Not that
because, no. I'm not seeing anything.
I believe they know what type of gun was fired and what level of bullet was used. Actually, to the identity of the character, the killer, nothing.
All right. Can I ask whether someone, like, there seems to be another male other than Michael and the killer? There seems to be another male voice. And I don't know.
Okay. No, there's not another male voice, but you might be hearing what the next event was, what I was mentioning, getting stranger and stranger. Because the killer stepped up the reign of terror. He actually attempted to kill these two young people, shot at them. He made a phone call from a public box to the Valhalla police. So maybe that's the second voice you're hearing.
Yep.
Okay.
I would say yes.
Would you read the note, his actual words, which I have showing you in photo number 5, please?
Okay, just a minute. Let me bring it up.
Yeah, take a minute to have a look, and then tell us what you read the notes aloud, and then tell us what you think of this note from the killer. This is what he actually said to the police.
Okay. I want to report a double murder. If you go 1 mile east on Columbia's Parkway to the public park, you will find kids in a brown car. They were shot with a 9mm Luger. I also killed those kids last year. Goodbye.
The other two. He's referring to the previous killed. Yes.
So he's taking credit because no one's actually found him yet, and he needs to be recognized.
Exactly.
So, wow.
So he is now a predator of humans, a serial killer.
Yeah, because back then, 3 people.
Yeah, that have been killed. Yeah. He's proven to be very clever. Okay. He's extremely lucky because he's not left any evidence that's clues that come back directly to him, despite shooting 4 people in public with really tight time frames to actually undertake the actual shooting. So my head just spins with a lot of questions here, Darcy. Is killing people not enough for this guy? What's his real motivation? What's the point of the telephone call? Is he seeking attention, as you indicated, that he wants recognition in such an open manner? Will this lead us to his identity? Like, have you any answers?
Well, I would say definitely yes, I need attention because no one's noticed me. Since only 3 people died, I have to stand corrected. Back then, they needed 5 people for a serial killer.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't until I think the late 70s that they determined 3. I could be wrong. Someone can Google that. I definitely feel like it's like he wants attention that other people are getting. And I think it's not a case, maybe he's been scorned in love. Maybe when he was younger, he wasn't loved enough. Mm-hmm. But it's more than that. It's almost like he wants to become famous or infamous. Which one is it when, either of the two?
Yeah.
Okay.
When you say he needs recognition, so you think he's going out higgly-piggly, just killing young people so that he can get recognition, and then they didn't get enough recognition, so he has to make a phone call to, pop it off?
Absolutely, because, it's been like you said, it's been a year since the first set of killings, and not that no one's done anything. I'm certain the police have done what they can at that particular time. And I think for a lot of people, they don't realize the manpower that goes into a search like this when you have no clues.
Right.
But the fact that it's taken so long, he needs that recognition. Okay. He needs people to know that you're not looking for like a bunch of people doing separate crimes. You're looking for one person doing one crime.
Okay. Well, his obvious desire for recognition escalates a little later in the month of July. On the last day, 3 nearly identical handwritten letters are sent to local newspapers. Oh. So look at photo number 6, Darcy, for me. It shows on the left the actual handwritten letter, and then my transcription on the right. So have a look, and then when you get a chance, could you read aloud the transcription?
Okay, just one sec.
Yeah, because you
find 6.
Take a moment.
Is this photo 6? Okay, looking at it, I would say man, given that handwriting.
Okay.
Might be limited education. So it slants, but it slants. Is he left-handed?
I wondered that myself. Quite the slant.
Yeah.
It's all printing too. It doesn't write.
Yeah, it's all block. Well, what I would call block letters, but lower printing. So probably not, maybe never or conquered the cursive writing.
Right. Not enough. Yeah.
Okay. So definitely a man.
Okay. Could you read it?
Dear editor, this is the murderer of the 2 teenagers last Christmas at Lake Herman, plus the 1 girl on the 4th of July near the golf course in Berryessa. To prove I killed them, I shall state some facts which only I, plus, using a plus sign, the police know.
Right.
Obviously, he spells the way he hears it because Christmas has 2 S's.
Yes, that's right.
Christmas, 1. And he obviously, to me, doesn't know proper punctuation because there's no period after 1. 1, brand name of ammo, Super X. 2, 10 shots were fired. 3, the boy was on his back with his feet to the car. Okay. 4, the girl was on her right side, feet to the west. And July 4th, 1 girl was wearing patterned slacks, again, his spelling. Mm-hmm. 2, the boy was also shock in the knee, so he meant shot.
Yes, that's right.
And 3, brand name of ammo was Western. Oh, interesting. He changed his ammo.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting. He does make spelling mistakes. He does reveal actual details that no one else knows.
Yes.
Okay, so he is proving and boasting about his past event, what has his actions in the past.
Yep.
Now, you said a while ago, you mentioned a symbol.
Yes.
So what kind of symbol are you sort of seeing in your head or imagining?
Well, I was thinking like a lion, if but now I know who this is.
Why do you know who this?
Because I've read up on this case years
Okay.
ago and just recently watched something on it.
Okay. So
So
tell us.
I know it's the Zodiac killer.
It's the Zodiac killer. Well done. And you know what the icon looks like that the Zodiac killer used?
Yeah, the zero with the cross through it.
Exactly. So these 3 letters that were sent to the newspapers, that you read just one of them, they were signed, if you can call it signed, by that symbol.
Yeah.
Okay. So the symbol is famous now. It's the crosshairs of our rifle's gun sight.
Yes.
Circle with a cross in the middle.
Yep.
Exactly. This became immediately and infamously famously his signature. Okay. And you can see, if you look at photos number 7, here is what it looks like.
Yes.
Something obviously you have seen before, and most people have seen before. And he uses it all 3 letters. So as if these letters, which you don't get to see all of what he's written, but in later parts of the letters, he threatens more deaths. These were sent to San Francisco newspapers. As if that wasn't enough, each letter included something else, Darcy, something very peculiar, which I find quite astonishing. So not just the symbol, but something else. Now that you know Zodiac, can you tell us what he might have included?
Didn't he use like I can't say the word, hieroglyphs, like symbols to represent what he?
Hieroglyphics.
Hieroglyphic. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking of Egypt.
Yeah, exactly. He used symbols. Yeah. And
which
they call
now
yeah.
It sort of differs from the idea this man isn't intelligent, because how would he know what to use?
Well, that's a good point. I was struck by his misspellings, as you were. And I thought that at first it sounded like he wasn't well educated, but then he must have been, I think, educated somehow with some kind of army or navy or something that would use ciphers and cryptography and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that actually makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Well, he has in these 3 letters, he adds a component of a cryptogram. He gives each letter a third of a complex cryptogram or a coded message. And I think like this is becoming right out of a Jean Le Carré spy novel, Darcy.
Yes.
This is a guy, I presume, in the early 70s doing this as part of being a triple murderer, a shooter of 4 people, a very violent individual, obviously, and yet he's using symbols and gobbledygook as part of his messaging. Yeah. So have photo number 8 and tell me what you see from that gobbledygook and what you intuit from what this might mean to the man.
Okay. Looking at it, it's got letters like the first 3 are HER, then less than, then a P backwards and an L backwards, V upside down, V right side up. And then it's got half like this throughout it, circles with the line through it, which normally circle with a line normally represents 0, right?
Yep.
So it makes me wonder if you hold it up to a mirror.
Would you see something?
Yeah, because if I look at the one, if I go from the right side of the page back, DOG, dog, and then, you go backwards, maybe, or you have to count so many letters. Maybe the first 3 letters represent H is a is an H, E is a 5, R is a 9. So, lining them up that way.
Well, I'm no cryptographer, and obviously you aren't either, because we've not been specially trained and we're not mathematicians. And neither were the police at the time, because they were unable to decipher this incredible puzzle. But it was solved about a week later, believe it or not, by two school teachers, Donald Harden and his wife, Betty. Betty discovered what they call cribs. These are words or phrases that you suspect are in a message. Often they say the letter E's got to be in there, right? If it's in English language, most common letter. Or the word I, that kind of thing. Well, she discovered two cribs. She figured out, the smart cookie she was, she thought he craved so much attention, she guessed the message would include the word I, as in the. She also figured the word kill or killing would be in there, or even the phrase, I like killing. So given those cribs, those thoughts that those letters, those words were in there, she figured out how to break this cryptogram. And they cracked the code. So if you look at photo number 9, you'll see the code and you'll see their transcription.
Okay.
Can you look at that and read it out to us?
Okay. I like killing people because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest, because man is the most dangerous animal of all to kill. Something gives me the most thrilling experience. It is even better than getting your rocks off with a girl. The best part of it is, I'm going to fill in the blanks there, that when I die, I will be reborn in paradise, and all that I have killed will become my slaves. I will not give you my name because you will try to slow down or atop my collecting of slaves for my afterlife. And then I'm not sure what that is. EB something.
Yeah.
And this is the solution of Zodiac's 408 symbol cipher, solved in August 1969, including faithful translations of spelling and grammar errors in the original. The meaning of any of the final 18 letter has not been determined.
Yeah.
And yes, huge spelling errors.
Yeah. So pretty strange dude. He's having fun with killing. He talks about slaves. He talks about the afterlife, and he uses hieroglyphics. So it makes me feel like he wants to be an Egyptian from the old days.
Yeah.
That jumps to my head. I mean, it's nonsense, I know, but it sort of leaps into my head that those three things kind of linked together. And you had mentioned Egypt and hieroglyphics at just a little earlier. So we now have the violent and sudden shooting and ambush and murder of two women, one young man, the violent and attempted murder of another young man, a phone call to the police, 3 written messages, weird messages to local newspapers with crypto ciphers in them. And we're just getting started on this crime spree. Like, this guy is totally off the wall crazy. Do you think?
Absolutely off the wall crazy.
Okay. What sense of him are you getting now, if any?
Well, since he loves to kill, okay, he said it, and the fact he's used a gun, if I remember correctly, he should start stabbing people or slicing them, because it gives him more satisfaction, that high that he's looking for, because it's like that closer kill.
Absolutely. Okay.
So that's what I'm feeling from him. And emotionally, he is invested in this. Like, this is like going on, like he said, it's better than going on a date.
Right. And it's better than killing animals in the forest.
Yep.
What was some seriously sick puppy we've got here?
No kidding.
Wow. Okay. Well, another letter arrives at the San Francisco Examiner newspaper a few days later, on the 4th of August. In response to a request from the police, they want proof that the writer actually committed the murders. And he does write back with definitive proof, identifying the gun, the bullets, and he begins this letter with the salutation, "Dear editor, this is the Zodiac speaking. using the now famous nickname for himself.
Yeah.
So before we get to the next horrific event, I want to examine that use of the Zodiac as his moniker. Why is he using astrological symbols, which are astrologers use to represent the planets and stars? What do they mean to this man and his terrible acts of violence and manipulation?
Well, the truth of the matter, I don't understand why he does, because a Zodiac, to me, Zodiac killing would be on the month. Every time there's a Zodiac sign, he should have followed those signs, not once a year.
Yeah, I get that.
I think that's the newspaper that gave him that handle, not necessarily him, but maybe he feels that because he believes, okay, let's go to Egypt. When they build the pyramids, they set them up so when the sun reaches a certain state inside of the sky, it can shine light into certain areas of the pyramid for you to see, which would coincide with Zodiac time frames. So maybe that's why he wanted it. Maybe he picked them because of the month they were born in.
Okay.
Or the month he saw them.
Okay.
I'm not thinking that the Zodiac name is as significant as just the idea that you don't know if I'm going to kill this month, next year.
Okay. Well, that's interesting that you would pick a name that doesn't identify you. In fact, makes it more difficult to identify you.
Yeah. If he had picked, let's see, deer stalker, I would think of a gun. I would think of you stalking people. Zodiac is more the ideology that people, when they fall in love, one of the things they want to know is what's your Zodiac sign.
Right. Well, he has two symbols, right? He has the crosshair symbol, which to me is definitive to what he is about. He's a hunter.
Yeah.
He's a killer. And he uses a gun which has a, can have a gun sight or a crosshairs icon. It's the image of looking through a rifle. But I agree with you. The Zodiac is a very strange choice for a name.
I just thought of something when you did that. When you said that about the crosshairs and the Zodiac. When we're out there looking for relationships, we are looking for someone to come into our crosshairs and hoping that their Zodiac sign meets our Zodiac sign. So maybe what he's saying is, I'm the lover that you're not able to see because you never see me in your crosshairs.
Oh, wow. That's deep. I like that.
Yeah.
So you never see me in your crosshairs. It could also mean I'm such a smart, manipulative guy. You'll never see me in your crosshairs. You'll never find me in those crosshairs. Yeah. Neat. Okay.
We'll see the rest for last, but right now we'll finish this.
Okay. Keep that thought. Okay, well, we move forward another 7 weeks. So things are happening more quickly now for the next shocking event. What happened to yet another young couple, Darcy, this time during daylight hours on September 27th, 1969, at another lake park in Napa County, California, called Berryessa. What do you think happened then?
Okay. Again, by now he should be escalating. Okay. So I'm thinking surprise attack, this time not in a car.
Okay.
Outside. Should be stabbing, not shooting, because it's daylight. So we want to accomplish our goal, but we're not really wanting to bring the police down on us because they can hear what we're doing.
Okay.
So that's what I would think.
Okay. Well, I know you're right on. On this occasion, the events become even more bizarre and lengthy and cruel. We have two students from a local college named Brian Hartnell, and Cecilia Shepard, and they're just enjoying a picnic. Let's meet these two young people in photos 10 and 11, Darcy. Can you look at photo number 10, Cecilia, and tell us what you think of this lovely young gal?
She's very pretty, bright-eyed, looks like blonde hair compared to the other two that were dark-haired.
Right.
He's definitely hunting couples.
Yeah, that's
Think
interesting.
about
And you can
hunting
see
couples.
her date is Brian Hartnell in photo number 11. What do you think of Brian?
Just one sec. I'll bring him up. Brian, number 11, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, there she is. 10. Oh, he looks truly like a college boy.
Doesn't he just like any, you look up any college, the album with all your pictures in it, and he looks just like all the ones from the old days. Black
Yep,
and
the dark glasses, the hair.
yeah. Amazing.
Very clean cut American boy.
Okay. Well, as you had indicated, Darcy, they are out having their picnic, and their white male, about 5'10", weighing about 170 pounds, which is what was told to later, approached them. So he's not in a car. They're not in a car. They're sitting on a grassy area in front of a lake. He approaches them. Now, this dude, Darcy, isn't just any passerby. He's instantly scary because he's
Yeah.
wearing black, executioner-like hood, clip-on sunglasses, and a bib wearing a white cross circle symbol. So imagine these two young people, wrapped up in themselves, literally, if not figuratively, having a little nosh, enjoying themselves, and somebody walks up to them wearing a black hood looking like an executioner in the middle of the day. Jeez.
Could
So
you imagine?
I'm sorry?
Sid, could you imagine that? The fear?
I don't know if I would wonder, is it Halloween or what's going on? But not
Yeah.
only is he dressed like this Halloween monster, he's sporting a gun. And he does something really strange. He starts to spin a ridiculous story. He starts talking to the young people. He claims to be an escaped convict and says he killed a guard and stole a car. He tells the now terrified teens that he wants their car and their money because he wants to travel to Mexico because his stolen vehicle is too hot, he says.
Okay.
He's carrying pre-cut lengths of plastic clothesline, and he demands that Cecilia tie up her boyfriend, Brian. Then what does he do?
Well, I don't think he shot them, but I'm pretty sure that he stabbed them.
Absolutely. You're right. He yanks out a knife. He stabs them multiple times, striking Cecilia 10 times and Brian 6 times. So you were dead on the fact that he was not in a car, that he was going to approach them in a more personal attack. He was going to use a knife, more personal close-up attack, perhaps giving him more pleasure, plus not allowing anyone else to sort of hear what's going on. So you're right on all those counts. But it's so different from the past, Darcy. He didn't talk to the other people. He was further afield, further back. He shot them. This is so close and personal. Plus, he's playing a role like he's an actor, planning for some kind of part. He's actually thought about this backstory that he's telling these poor people before he actually attacks them. Like, what does that tell you about this nut?
Well, that's about right, that he's a nut. But I think, again, that sensationalism, the fear, like, I mean, you watch enough crime videos and everything, you realize that part of the excitement is the fear that they instill in people.
Their own fear of what they're doing, of being caught, of what?
No. The fear inside their victims. Most of them like the fear.
Oh, so they eat that up.
Yeah, it's like taking drugs. And I'm not a crime specialist or anything, but just like I said, you watch enough videos that's one of the things they point out is that fear is intoxicating to the killer.
Right.
And the fact that he stabbed her more than he stabbed the guy, because I'm pretty sure the guy lives still, it tells me that his anger is really directed at the women.
Right.
Not at the men.
But he's targeting couples.
Yeah, because maybe in his mind, he's saving the man from the woman.
Oh, that's interesting. He obviously doesn't think well of women.
No, not at all.
Okay. Well, he does something very, I mean, not to think that this wasn't strange and bizarre, the
Yeah.
fact that he knifes these two. But then he does something again different and strange. He reaches out to authorities, but in a very different way. Can you get any idea what he might do?
I don't think he phoned them.
Okay.
Okay. Did he send them another letter or postcard or something? I can't remember which it was.
Okay. Well, he actually hikes about 500 yards back to the car Brian Hartnell was driving. And he, have a look at photo number 12. As you can see in photo number 12, he's written the dates of his 3 murderous attacks on Brian Hartnell's car door.
Oh, so he has.
Strange.
Yeah. That is really weird.
Really weird. And then, just to top that off, he then phones the county sheriff in Napa Valley and he claims responsibility, saying he wants to report a murder. Then he says, no, a double murder, and says he was the killer. So, did both these young people die, Darcy?
I didn't think, unless he nicked the guy in a vital vein, I thought the young man was alive.
You're right. Unfortunately, Cecilia lapses into a coma. She dies 2 days later, but she's able to provide a bit of a description of their killer. And Brian Hartwell, you're right, he survived and he provided details. So, Darcy, from December 22nd, 1968 to September 27th, 69, this maniac has ambushed 6 victims, resulting in the premature and undeserved, vicious, and violent deaths of 4 young people. The Zodiac murderer has been targeting these courting couples, as we talked about. So, do we expect something more from this guy?
I would think yes, but he might go silent for a little bit.
Well, that's interesting. He does
because
again. He spins again on a slightly different plane. You may not be surprised he commits another brutal murder barely 2 weeks later. So the escalation continues. It's happening much more frequently here. On October 11th, he catches a ride around 9:30 in the evening with a San Francisco cabbie named Paul Stine. Have a look at Paul, and we show him our photo number 13, Darcy.
Okay.
Can Paul tell you anything about his fate?
It's really weird because when you ask that question, I hope I die fast.
Paul Stine said that?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, Paul must have known that it was going to happen, but he was shot in the head once with a 9mm. Okay. So perhaps the guy is in the back, typical of a cab, right?
Yeah.
Pulls the gun. Paul can maybe see him in the rearview mirror and has that instant thought, as you have said, I hope I die quickly. Fortunately, I think he did. The shooter then steals Paul's wallet, his car keys, and tears a strip off the tail of his blood-stained shirt.
Oh.
So this is the first time I think our guy has taken either a trophy or something from the crime scene.
Okay.
So this happens in the dark, 9:30 at night, but it's a populated residential area and is witnessed by 3 teens. They phone the police, and almost immediately, a nearby patrol car spots a white male walking nearby. But unfortunately, as this can happen, there's some sort of communication mix-up within the cops or the teenagers, because the patrol officers think the suspect was black. So they ignore this white guy walking right by them. And I'm sure that guy was the Zodiac. Now, no one linked this random shooting of a cab driver, to the Zodiac until 2 days later. So here's an example of this guy not getting the attention he thinks he should get. No one's twigged that it was him that did this new murder. So he claims to the San Francisco Chronicle newspaper, not only is he the killer, but he contains in the letter a piece of the ripped shirt with Paul Stine's blood on it.
Okay.
So I'd like you to look at photo number 14. Oh, before we see photo 14, he also says something which is just carrying things to getting to a ridiculous level here. He threatens to kill school children. And he says, on a school bus saying, "I'll just shoot out the front tire and pick off the kiddies as they come bouncing out."
Wow.
So we've gone now beyond murdering young women and young men or young couples. We've now murdered an independent man in a cab, an older man. He's a middle-aged guy. And now he says he's going to pick off kids as they come bouncing out of a school bus.
Could you imagine the frenzy of fear that is going on?
Yeah. So when you say that idea that the killer needs the fear and soaks it in, I would imagine then you're right. All the hysteria that must be going on this whole time, and now, of course, getting worse and worse as the days pass, that there's been no solution, no one's been found, that mass hysteria is feeding him just living there.
Yes.
He must be just enjoying the heck out of it.
I would say yes to that.
We'll have a look at our next photo, which is photo 14. It's just another Google shot of the location. I want you to see where the 4 shootings take place, because they vary in location and they're many miles apart. Does that give you a sense of anything?
Well, obviously he has transportation.
Right.
It's weird that they're so far apart. Normally killings are clustered.
Right.
So makes me think, though, he's got to be probably, I'm going to say maybe in the Napa Valley area.
Mm-hmm.
Because of its equal distance. The only one that's a little farther away is San Francisco. And is that the one where the cabbie got shot?
Yeah.
Okay. So then maybe it was to spread the fear, look, I can get around anywhere.
Yeah. And I think you're right. He's probably more centralized location, and he would go north to kill, south to kill a little bit, but he wouldn't necessarily be coming from Francisco and going north and then further north. I would think you're right.
Yeah.
What a freak. Well, again, the events change in this incredible killing spree. What happens over the next few years with this case?
I thought it went cold for a while, didn't it?
Absolutely. It goes into what I call the correspondence mode.
Yeah.
Following the killing of Paul Stine, the Zodiac then goes into this flurry of sending letters and postcards, and they contain ciphers, and they contain codes and threats to other, to undertaking more killings. Sends them to newspapers. He demands that the newspaper prints his ciphers, or else. He also claims credit over time for an abduction. He claims credit for shooting a police officer, other murders, but none of this has ever been directly linked to him or proven to be linked to him.
Yes.
And I'm not going to go into detail with these final events because I want to focus on the killer himself, Darcy. I want to know if the Zodiac is correctly represented in any of the wanted poster sketches. And this is where I'm going to really test you. I'm going to show you some photos of these sketches of witness identification and also victim identification.
Okay.
But before we do that, I want you to read his words one last time. So if you look at photo number 15, on the right, it shows his actual words with that slanted to the right handwriting.
Yes.
And then on the left is my transcription. Could you have a look at and read that transcript for us?
Yes. This is the Zodiac speaking. Up to the end of October, I have killed 7 people. I have grown rather angry with the police for their telling lies about me. So I shall change the way the collecting of slaves. I shall no longer announce to anyone when I commit my murders. They shall look like routine robberies, killings of anger, plus sign again, a few fake accidents, etc. And then it goes on, the police shall never catch me because I have been too clever for them. 1, I look like the description passed out only when I do my thing. The rest of the time, I look entirely different. I shall not tell you what my desire consists of when I kill. 2, as of yet, I have left no fingerprints behind me, contrary to what the police say.
Right. So I'm struck by a couple of points. He mentions the collection of slaves again. The slave idea is really weird. And he previously called his victims slaves, as we note in other ones. So that's a really strange thing. Plus, he uses the verb shall. He doesn't say I will kill, or
I shall kill.
Which is really kind of an odd verb. It really struck me. It's unusual. People don't use it in common parlance. It's generally used in religious or legal settings, like thou shalt not kill, thou shalt sign the document, whatever. So it's a really odd word. For me, I thought, there must be some clue to that choice of that word. What does it do?
He could have had a religious upbringing, because I know darn well he's not a lawyer.
Good point.
And I would say maybe he had a religious mother, because it's normally the mother that will really take the child to church.
Right.
Not unless his father was a priest or a minister, or but I'm thinking, given the anger towards the women, that this could be from his mother.
Right. And that seems to be sadly a common thing among these men who go out and murder women. Okay, well, now we're ready. I hope you're ready, because we're going to test your psychic abilities big time. I'm going to show you the 4 sketches of the headshots created at the time from the witnesses and the victim descriptions of the Zodiac. One of them is considered to be the closest to the truth, although we don't know the truth, because we don't know who this guy is still. So let's see if you can highlight it from this list. Here we go. Photo number 6. Sorry, go ahead.
Before I look at the photos,
please tell us.
I am going to say he should have, obviously, Caucasian.
Yep.
Might tan a little. He should have dark hair, not light. I think he should be wearing glasses, but he may have them on and off. Maybe they're needed more for driving than they are for walking around.
Okay.
I would say like oval, like my face, shaped like mine.
All right.
And I'm not seeing a lot of wrinkles, so I'm going to give him between 35 and 42, somewhere in there. I'm still debating whether he's left-handed.
Okay.
Okay, because it's like, I know I part my hair to the right and lefties part it to the left. And I keep thinking he's left-handed.
Okay. Well, then let's look at our first photo, number 16, a black and white sketch. This guy has like a cherubic face, short dark hair. Is this the face of the Zodiac killer, Darcy?
No.
No. Okay, why not?
Just too baby-faced.
Too baby-faced. Okay.
Yeah.
Next up is photo 17. This guy has more of an angular face, longer hair. How about him? Is he the Zodiac killer?
I'm going to put that on hold for a moment. There's a possibility.
Okay. Good. There's 2 more to come. Right. Now on to photo number 18. This guy has short fair hair and is wearing glasses, squarish kind of glasses. Is he our serial murderer?
Close, because the glasses fit my description. The eyes are similar to 17, which I would say fit in there.
Okay. You got one more to go.
Jar might be a little squarer.
Okay. All right. Last but not least is photo number 19. Like the last photo, this guy has short hair, a jowly chin. Is this the sketch of our astrologically named assailant? No. Okay. So you're saying it could be either 17 or 18.
If I took 17 and 18 and blended them together, I'd probably get my killer.
Okay. Well, would you like to know what the official wanted poster for what they think is the best representation of the Zodiac is? Which one? Would you like me to tell you?
18.
It's 18, the guy with the glasses. Yes.
Yeah.
So have a look at photo number 20. That'll show you the actual wanted poster for the Zodiac killer. But you'll see there's actually 2 images there, aren't there? 2 faces.
Yeah. See, there's that square jaw.
Okay. So there's a bit of a different look to each one of those characters that they've sketched. So well done. You've picked out of the 4 photographs what is considered to be the image of the Zodiac killer based on, victims and victims' descriptions.
But I would have made him dark hair.
That's interesting. You said that, and I was thinking, okay, I'm not going to say anything because I'm not, I'm not showing my hand. But they seem to think he was a sandy hair or fairer haired person than you think.
Yeah.
Now, one pair saw him wearing a hood, so they're not going
That
to get
could be it.
The others are seeing it in the dark, right? Paul Stine, of course, didn't tell us anything. So it's only the teenagers who saw Paul Stine get shot in the dark, so hard to see what color his hair was. And of course, the two couples, three couples, so it's hard to see what they got. They could see in the dark. The one couple during the day saw a hood.
I would also say that the glasses are fake.
Well, that's been a thought because when he was wearing the hooded one outfit, he was wearing clip-on glasses. So he was wearing glasses at the time. But the others, he wasn't wearing glasses. And as you read in his little note, he says, "I don't look like the description that people tell about me because I'm faking it. In other words, I'm putting stuff on, which is very smart, very crafty. So he's not recognizable when he's become the Zodiac."
Yeah. But he was right about one thing. They never did find him, did they?
You're right. They never did, Darcy. They've never found him. Now, let's talk about the guy. He's obviously somewhat intelligent, maybe not a great speller, maybe he's dyslexic. I don't know. He's manipulative. He lacks empathy. But what do you think about the kind of person who has to commit these crimes? Did he plan targeting these young couples, or did he just wander around trying to find somebody to shoot at the start? Did he target Paul Stine, a guy in a cab? Like, what is the sense of that?
Paul Stine in the cab is really a throw. Like, why would he go after someone single when he's always targeted couples? I think the idea here is he's mad at couples. I think he had to see them come together somewhere to know how to find them.
Well, do you think you would just hang around lovers' lanes? Because we know
could have just hung around lovers' lane for that very reason. But for me, whatever this killing is, it's all personal. Like, it's like, this is him erasing something that went wrong for him because he couldn't have changed it at the time. I'd be curious to know if there had been maybe a couple of single killings before he actually evolved into doing the couples.
Well, that's a very good point, because we don't know really how he killed or attempted to kill, because not everything is necessarily related to him that we know about. There were, I have to tell you, a number of suspects logically. However, we're not even going to go into them because they did actually find some DNA evidence on a stamp from an envelope. And that DNA evidence was compared with these suspects, and none of them none of them relate. So none of those people were the Zodiac killer. We still don't know who he was. But he claims in his last note, that's the last confirmed from the Zodiac communication, that he's killed 37 people, and he provides a new cipher in it. Why did he stop killing, Darcy? Or did he stop killing? Did he relocate somewhere else? Was he thrown in jail? What happened?
I think that he probably may have gone to jail for something else, but I also think he got to a point where maybe physically he couldn't do the killings anymore.
And when you say that, you're saying he has to be a relatively, I guess, middle-aged to younger man to undertake those killings. I mean, he just sat in a car and shot people. Then he stabbed. Well, that takes a little bit more ability. But as he gets older, you're saying he didn't have the physical strength or the.
Yes.
I mean, it's not a lot of strength to shoot somebody.
But it's funny because when I looked at his picture, what I felt was like the top of my head was going to come off. So I'm wondering.
You were looking like you had a really serious headache.
Yeah, so I'm wondering whether or not maybe he could have had a stroke, a heart attack.
That would be good.
Which would make him physically incapable of continuing with his murders.
Oh, so you think he might have had a stroke or a heart but he didn't die of it. He was
Yeah.
incapacitated as a result.
Yes.
Okay, well, good. I hope he had to struggle for years and years and years in an
You know,
incapacitated.
and I don't know if they ever had a suspect with the name David, but that name is standing out really strongly here.
Oh,
David.
really?
So I'd be curious if they ever had a suspect with the name.
Okay, well, just give me 1 second. I don't know if I go away from here, okay, because I can look at, I've got the photos of the suspects, but I can't pull them up without blocking. So I'm going to try and switch to my photos, okay? See what happens.
All right.
I'm going to, okay. You're down in the corner there. Okay. Let's see. Here are my photos. The killers are Arthur Lee Allen. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Arthur Lee Allen. Gary Francis Post. Richard Gaykowski. That's it. No David.
Then I'm thinking they had the wrong suspect.
Okay. Well, you're right, because they checked their DNA and they weren't a match. So they had the wrong suspects. But I haven't encountered a name for a name of David coming through. So
Okay.
that's as far as we know, that's the end of the Zodiac case. We don't know if he's are still around. I guess he could be. What sense do you get of the man? You think he might be incapacitated? Do you think he's still alive?
No, I think he's dead.
You think he's dead? Do you think he's been dead for a while? Can you tell that?
I would definitely say 15, possibly 20 years.
Oh, okay. So a fair length of time dead.
Yes.
Is he still angry and needing attention in death?
No, because he didn't get his slaves. So, he's sort of out of luck.
So is he an unhappy camper at being dead?
Probably. I would guess yes. The good part is I'm not really connecting to him. What I'm connecting to are the victims, and none of them are around him. That's what I'm feeling.
Okay.
None of them.
All right. Well, I had never really thought of this idea before, but it struck me because you talk a lot about, what happens with people after they're dead and what they can sort of realize and feel or experience. And I just thought of, okay, I wonder if these horrible, crazy serial killers are still horrible, crazy serial killers in the afterlife in their heads. I mean, are they still feeling that kind of hatred?
No, I'm not.
They go forever?
No, they actually get to come back to Earth and do it again, only in a different way. They may come back trapped in a body that can't move. They may come back as an animal. When we do something that horrific, you never get that chance to come back as a human.
Okay. So you're talking about reincarnation.
Yes.
Okay. So you believe in reincarnation. We all get a chance.
I do.
Okay. What you're saying, though, is somebody who's committed horrific acts doesn't get a chance to come back as a human being.
Unless they're locked in a body that cannot function on its own.
So they're being punished. They're being punished in their reincarnation.
Yes. If they come back at all, yes.
Oh, wow. I hadn't thought of that. Do they get to be reincarnated again after that life?
No.
So you only get reincarnated once?
Oh, no. You can be reincarnated numerous times, but my belief is when you're that horrific of a person, you don't get to come back.
Period? Or you don't get to... Okay.
Period.
So most people come back. Like, they got to be punished somewhere. So you're saying like the universe is punishing them in the... Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Because like this has not been punished.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's one of, he's not just the only one on there. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Well, that was a fascinating discussion about the Zodiac. I'm really impressed by how you were fairly quickly came to that icon idea. Right up front, of course, a male, and you thought of Son of Sam, which, there's a lot of similarities to the level
there are.
of humanity. The Son of Sam was speaking to Sam, right? I mean, he had this crazy idea that he was in conversation with other beings. So this fellow, our Zodiac fellow, sounds like right up there, completely insane individual.
Yeah, I would say yes to that.
But it's interesting. why does it, well, and as you said, we don't know how many times he's killed, before or after. I'm always fascinated as to the triggering point. I know, people who have been horrifically treated as children and perhaps have a psychological damage as a result can start, undertaking malicious acts like, hurting animals and setting fires. And they're kind of classic to leading up to someone who's going to be a
Yes.
violent offender. But you kind of wonder, when's the tipping point when they commit their first murder? What pushes them to that edge and then keeps them going? And then what stops them in the end?
I think if criminologists or even scientists could figure that out, maybe they could cut it in the bud before it gets going. But that's just it. You don't know. They can lie dormant their entire life, and it takes one event. And it doesn't matter what age they are.
Yeah, that is so bizarre. It's like a ticking time bomb.
It is.
Does go off or does go off. Yeah.
But the difference is that most people can feel like that, and we are able to control our actions and go through life and not do anything. It's those 1 in like a million, and I'm using a weird number here because I don't know the statistics.
Yes. Right.
But it's just that one who doesn't understand that you don't get pleasure from pain.
Right. Yeah. The sadists around, they think they do. Wow. Well, I guess we're lucky he's gone. Thank goodness. Yeah. Quite a bizarre guy, though. I don't know of many of these sort of horrific serial killer types that use the elements that he used, the ciphers and the different motives of killing people and the different, even the different victims, as you say, the cab driver versus couples. If he hated women, but he had to target couples, and yet he killed a man at that we think of as the end. I'm wondering if his other killings were outside of San Francisco and therefore didn't get the publicity that he wanted, get the fear, but a guy downtown or whatever in San Francisco in broad, in the evening would really be a sensation in his mind, perhaps.
It would. And then given the time frame, they did not have the same computer system where you can link to other districts and countries and provinces or states and find that information. They didn't have that technology.
Exactly. Yeah. So we have a lot of benefits now, and they didn't, of course, have the DNA.
Yes.
They could use to find this person in the end. Okay. Well, that was fantastic. Thanks, Darcy. An excellent.
Oh, you're welcome.
The Zodiac. Hope you're not feeling too badly after having to go down that dark alley. I appreciate it.
I'm fine.
Okay. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay. You have a great night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Seeing Dead People, where goosebumps are guaranteed. We would love to hear from you with questions for Darcy about her psychic process or suggestions for other mystifying situations you would like us to investigate. Please shoot us an email to info@radiosydney.ca with Seeing Dead People in the subject line. New episodes air on our website, radiosydney.ca, on the first Saturday of every month. Episodes repeat Saturday nights at 8 p.m. and Sunday mornings at 10 a.m., both Pacific time. All episodes are available as downloadable podcasts at our website or on our YouTube channel, Nicola Furlong Mysteries. I'm Dorian Mortis, weirdly keen on seeing dead people. This has been a presentation of Radio Sydney.